He's got the whole world in his hands. This is the theme for this year's World Weekend of Prayer for Children at Risk. The idea of the world being held in God's hands is a reassuring image about trust and security. It's not an image of a distant God that occasionally engages with his creation, with a lightning bolt or something similar. Neither is it an image of a forceful God with a tight, restrictive grip. It's an image of a God who cares for his creation, a God who is big, present, involved, a God who can be trusted. But as I look at all the chaos and uncertainty, the evil and suffering that is present in the world, I can find it hard to reconcile all of that with the idea of being held in God's hands. Do you, like me, sometimes look at all that's going on in the world and begin to think that God may have dropped us? It's Psalm 95 that introduces the concept of being in his hands. It says, "In his hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him." The depths and the peaks, the tough times as well as the joyful times. The next verse goes on to say, "The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land." In Hebrew literature, so in the Old Testament of the Bible, the sea represents chaos, disorder, evil, threat, danger and death. Therefore, this verse is saying that God is holding it all in his hands. He hasn't dropped us. He's able to hold it all. In the book of Job, chapter 38, we are told that God's power is sufficient to contain the strong, chaotic and dangerous sea. So far and no further. Here your powerful waves must stop. Back in Psalm 95, verse 7 explicitly states that God cares for us human beings, for he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care. We can have confidence that we are his people for whom he cares, despite the chaos and evil in the world. The psalm then shifts a gear, reminding God's people of a time when they did not fully trust him, a time when God's people tried and tested him. There always seems to be a fine line between asking God questions and questioning God. There are many mysteries of faith and many seemingly conflicting ideas that coexist. For me, the idea of God holding us in his hands points to one of these mysteries. Is God in total control, or do we have free will? It's a perplexing subject, but for me, I have had to accept that they are both true, and that's a good thing. My decisions matter, and I must take responsibility for my actions. If that wasn't the case, what would be the point of anything? However, the future is known to God, and he is ultimately in control. Therefore, we always have hope. Each morning, I find it comforting to hold my morning mug of coffee in my hands, and I am reminded of how God is holding the world in his hands. I reflect on how he's got us, including all the chaos and uncertainty, the evil and the suffering. I am reminded of this truth and how I should trust him, knowing that I'm loved and cared for, no matter what is going on around me. And because God has the whole world in his hands, because he is close and involved in his creation and cares for it, I know that my actions matter. I am a co-labourer with God and have the opportunity to, the privilege to, nurture all that he has created to make this world a better place.